This is a model train, this is an espresso, and this is a giant model train set that I've spent the last month building to connect my desk upstairs with a coffee machine in the kitchen. This train set is in no way ordinary, as it was built just like a real railway to efficiently connect two faraway places together while navigating difficult geography. It runs over bridges and through doors, and even utilises a vernacular railway system to travel vertically up the scale equivalent of a mountain, the stairs up to my office. But when I started building this a few weeks ago, I never realised it would take quite as much work as it did.
Well, I've been here for about 8 days straight building this thing.
And result in so much coffee all over the floor. If you were, like me, lucky enough to have got your hands on some model trains when you were younger, you might have wondered, how far can a model train actually go? And how big could I theoretically build my train set? Now, when I recently rediscovered my old train set and decided to get it working again last Christmas, I started thinking about this again. I first built a small oval of track around my workshop, but soon set to work expanding it with points and junctions and multiple trains, before realising these trains might have some potential as an actual transportation system. You see, I found they could move things just like real trains, so why not solve an actual transportation issue that I experience daily? That being the chore of walking up and down the stairs to the kitchen every time I want a cup of coffee. I thought I could lay some track, computerise the trains, press a button, and the train could do all of the work. If I could pull this off, I might end up building the most useful 1/76 scale railway the world has yet seen. There would be some challenges though, so let me take you through the plan. The kitchen coffee machine is located one floor down, around 20 meters or 65 feet away. So to link it with my office upstairs, I'd have to build a scaled 2 kilometers of track through 4 separate rooms with some sort of elevator system in the hallway to raise and lower the trains between floors. The whole system would have to be autonomously controlled using an Arduino microcontroller with a finely tuned system of sensors to make sure that the trains were at the right place at the right time. Even the coffee machine would have to be automatically triggered so that when trains pull underneath it, coffee would seamlessly be poured into the carriages without me having to do anything but wait upstairs. I learned how to automate the trains using some infrared sensors and an Arduino by following a tutorial online. Basically, when a train runs in front of a sensor, it kills the power and stops the train. These trains run on 12 volts DC, fed straight to the track, and when the rails are powered, they effectively complete a circuit with the motor in the miniature locomotives, meaning that you can start, stop, and reverse the train by simply switching on and off or reversing the power. The next step was to break out the power tools and start building the first phase of the railway, which would go around my office.
I've been looking forward to this bit. Let's build a train track.
I didn't want the route to completely block the door, so I'd have to run it around the perimeter of the room. I decided to raise the track bed up a little so that it would be at the right height for the yet to be assembled train elevator in the hallway, so I effectively built a giant bridge all the way around the workshop, which had to be perfectly flat and smooth, as this would be important if I was to deliver coffee reliably without any derailments. It was at this point though I discovered I'd made a big mistake.
Just realised this little wagon here with a coffee cup won't fit underneath the windowsills. What an idiot! This has all been in vain. I need to take it up, put it back down again with some bigger overhangs for this.
So with a bit more planning, I solved this problem by spacing the track away from the wall and then made sure to do a bit more testing. I now had a test track to run some trains and see if an espresso cup could be safely delivered to the other side of the room.
Choo choo. So I've just got some assistants here. Give it the beans, Joe. What do you think?
It fell off.
It seemed that relying on gravity alone wasn't really enough, but after some smart thinking, we came up with a high-tech solution.
Maybe you should magnetise the cup to the bottom of the top of the train.
I think that's good. I think we could try blue tack now.
That's not a bad idea, actually. You just stick it down with some sticky stuff.
Now it was time to extend the track to phase 2 of the project, the train elevator.
Now, as you might know if you've watched one of my previous videos where I built a Scalextrics track around the whole of this office and down the stairs and stuff, this room here is actually one level up in the building, which means that I'm going to have to get the trains up and down the stairs, which are out there, in order to bring freshly brewed coffee straight from the kitchen.
After experimenting with a few different ideas, I settled on a vernacular railway-inspired elevator that would have a movable section of track that travels along rails attached to wooden supports. This took a lot of planning and a good helping of trial and error at the same time. I had to do loads of fine adjustments to get all 8 6 meters of these rails perfectly spaced out and level so that the elevator platform wouldn't derail. To raise and lower this platform, I'd have to build some sort of winch at the top of the stairs. I wanted to keep things as simple as possible, so the first thing I tried was to steal a beefy electric motor from one of my RC cars and fit it to a spindle of cable via a small gear. However, the gearing turned out to be a little on the fast side, meaning I had to switch to something new. The second idea was to try using a Lego motor and Lego gears. This was far easier to work with, as I could quickly build a correctly geared winch that was very slow, which was quite important, and very strong so that it could raise and lower a train safely. This whole setup had to be extremely precise, with it moving at exactly the right speed and lining up exactly at the ends of the track at both the top and the bottom of the stairs. I added some little barriers to help with the alignment, and through a lot of fiddling finally managed to get it semi-working. However, I had a big problem. How would the track get its power so that the trains could move? As the elevator track only needed to be powered while docked, I decided to add some brass contacts that would transfer current from the connecting rails as soon as the platform was in the right position. This was really starting to look quite good. That was until, such is engineering, I learned how things could go very south very quickly.
Whoops.
Next up, the downstairs section.
Look at all this track I've just built. It goes all the way through here, from there on these stilts over to the coffee machine. Well, I've been here for about 8 days straight building this thing. The track is almost done, but the automation side of things I'm really dreading. I'm so tired of building train tracks now. This is taking way longer than I thought it was going to.
I made sure to rigorously test this section to make sure that the track was smooth enough to run a fully loaded coffee train along it without it derailing and plunging to its doom.
Well, it's bound to happen sooner or later.
This all required a lot of wood and a lot of track, so thank you very much to my kind supporters over on Patreon for making videos like this happen. One of the final steps was to turn attention to the automation side of things through wiring up an array of sensors to 2 Arduinos at either end of the track. I modified some code so that it would be possible to control a servo with another infrared sensor, and then simply glued this servo to the coffee machine. There's a bit more to it than this, but you'll see exactly how it all works in just a minute. Now I could just do the final setup and fine-tuning to make sure that the trains would stop and start in exactly the right places, which took quite a while. It's finally time to show you the entire railway working with the first train. But quickly, I wanted to show you how I go about planning these projects using Millernote, who are the sponsor of this month's video. You might be interested to hear about my new jet car that I've started work on recently to improve on last year's design. This software has been really useful for me to collect sort of renders of the car, research about similar designs, and all of the links to gear and equipment that I'm going to need all in one place. What I love is that you can create a collage of your notes and everything that you need, images, videos, tasks, and more, all in one location. It's a creative way for me to get all of my ideas down on a few boards so that I can remain nice and productive and on target with these projects. Starting a project is really easy with over 100 built-in templates available for every type of creative project. When you're ready to share your work, you can also invite colleagues and clients to gather important feedback and collaborate with them in real time. Finally, Millernote is available for free with no time limit. Sign up with the link in the description and start your next creative project. Thank you very much, Millernote, for sponsoring this video and making this whole thing possible and allowing me to make these videos. Now back to some trains and getting this first train running. For the first full run, I chose this 6-wheeled tank engine locomotive, as I found it to be the most reliable during testing. Let's see if it makes it all the way to the kitchen and back.
Bye. Good luck. See you in 5 minutes.
Right, now the train is in motion, the Arduino knows that the train is on its way to the kitchen, so the first thing it does is await the train's arrival at the top sensor on the elevator. Now this is where things get interesting. When the train arrives, it stops at the sensor, which sends a signal to the Arduino, which in turn activates a servo, which flicks a switch on the Lego motor controller, which then tells the Lego motor to lower the elevator. After quite a wait, as the elevator is pretty slow, the train finally arrives at the bottom of the elevator, where the elevator carriage settles down onto its base plate, connecting its brass contact pads, which instantly makes the track live. The only sensor on this bit of track is right at the very end. So the locomotive simply keeps going until it hits this, which should stop it in the right place and start the copy machine with the servo. Next, the coffee is poured, and after a short while to make sure that the machine has definitely stopped, the Arduino tells the train that it's time to start heading back up the line. After its scenic journey back through to the hall, the train just needs to be stopped by hitting the sensor at the bottom of the elevator, which tells the Lego motor to winch the lift back up to the top. If all's gone well and the train survives its perilous ascent back up to the top, the Arduino is told that the elevator has arrived by the top sensor, so it stops the Lego motor and energizes the track so that the train can start on its final stretch of journey around the office. And with that, all that needs to happen is for the train to avoid crashing off the end of the track through being told to stop by a final sensor at the very end of the line.
Okay, here it comes. Whoa. And it stopped. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Let me know if you want to see more train-related projects like this one, because this is a bit of a new one for me. But in the meantime, here's a video that I think you might like, so maybe go and watch that one next if you've enjoyed this video.